So good day everyone. So our lesson 7 is about the globalization of religion. So in this chapter we will talk about how globalization has transformed the role of religion within societies. So two images can be conceived about this question. So first is the highly industrialized and western societies where religious affiliation and engagement are in decline. And another one is the non-Western societies where religions guide politics and all other aspects of life, also in extreme cases where groups would instigate violence in the name of religious belief. So in the opening of your module, so you will see there the quotes from Samuel Huntington saying that the conflicts of the future will occur along the cultural fault line separating civilization. So let us discover why did Samuel Huntington tells us that the conflicts or the future class of civilization will be because of our cultural values or cultural perspective. So for today, we will be also discussing the concept of religion. So according to Haynes 2006, so he gave two distinct but related meanings of religion. So in a spiritual sense, he refers religion in three ways of how social and individual behavior of believers are organized. So he said that it involves the idea of transcendence or yung paniniwala natin sa mga supernatural realities. Secondly, it is related with sacredness or holiness or how we do have practiced our religion, and it concerns or the ultimacy or it relates to the ultimate condition of existence. So it according naman doon sa material sense, so Haynes said that a religion has the capability to motivate individuals as well as for groups to collectively mobilize them to achieve political goals and suppress mass action as a tool of repression. So with this understanding in our mind, so we do have also paradigm or arguments that explains the state of religion in the context of globalization. So we do have the secularization paradigm and the religious resurgence thesis. So the secularization paradigm has viewed religion has somehow losing its influence on the different aspect of our society because of modernization. Whereas a resurgence of religious thesis naman, so modernization has caused a backlash and urged society to seek refuge in religion due to the imposition of liberal and Western values that are incompatible with people's culture, beliefs, and identity. So kabaligtaran ang religious resurgence thesis ng secularization paradigm. So let us discuss the secularization paradigm muna. So the secularization paradigm refers to the belief that religion would lose its significance with economic development and modernization. So the thesis can be tracked back to the classical works of Auguste Comte, Max Weber, Emil Durkheim, and Karl Marx. So according to them, pare-pareho sila yung mga classist at classist scholars natin naniniwala sila that modernization has somehow declines our religious beliefs, So according to Comte, so siya yung nag-posited ng idea that societies undergoes three stages. The theological stage wherein sabi ang ating daw society ay gawa saan from the universe and there is an ultimate being na gumawa ng ating society. To the metaphysical stage wherein ito yung part ng mga industrial revolution, commercial revolution, and to the positive or the scientific stage, which is the common era that we do have today. So aside from that, si Weber naman, he argues about the process of disenchantment being replaced by the idea or the concept of bureaucratization, rationalization, and secularization over the magical, the metaphysical, and the religious concept of our world view. So for Emil Durkheim naman, he argues that the individualization of the society break the bonds of the community. So lastly, we do have Karl Marx viewing that religion is the opium of the people. So he believed that in order for us to have a classless society, so we should treat each of one of us equally And there should be no religion, ano, to eradicate class division in the existence of the state. So aside from them, so meron pa tayong mga scholars or in the modern era that also studies about the secularization paradigm. So we do have Shanin on 1991, Gorski on 2001, and Goldstein on 2009. So all of them present a general overviews of the development of secularization paradigm, but they uses a more complex and this time a contradictory variants of secularization. So Chanin provided a systematic overview of the secularization paradigm, saying that this is based on the three concepts called differentiation, rationalization, and worldliness. So the study of Chanin is patterned on the theories of Thomas Lackman, Peter Berger, Brian Wilson, David Martin, Richard Fenn, Talcott Parsons, and Robert Bella. So according din kay Chanin, he argues that religion becomes what? Differentiated and autonomous from other institutions. So according to Chanin, our religion has loses its power when it comes to the social control and guidance of the different aspect of society. So kaya nawawala yung ating religion. So this is also the reason why nagkaroon ng separation of the state and the churches. So Chanin also views that secularization paradigm includes the rationalization process. And the rationalization process involve two aspect, and that is the scientization or the emergence of science that would compete with religious worldviews, and sociologization where social life is determined in scientific and rational fashion that is free from religious influence. Okay, so according to Chanin, he views that the secularization paradigm has two preliminary assumption. So the roots, number one is the roots of the secularization process can be found within the religion itself, and secondly, that religion is related to human conduction and thus will not completely disappear. So next on Chanin, we do have Gorski. So kay Gorski naman, according naman kay Gorski, so he follows emphasis on the differentiation theory. So uniting concept of the paradigm of secularization. So according kay Gorski naman, nasa core ng paniniwala ng mga tao or dun sa pagkawala ng religion natin is the differentiation theory. At yung differentiation theory ay nagsanga-sanga into different theories. At yung mga theories na kasama doon ay yung disappearance religion thesis by Comte, the decline of religion thesis advocated by Weber, the privatization thesis which is argued by Lachman, so about the replacement of our institutionalized religion with new and personalized faiths, and the transformation thesis set forth by Parson. So wherein he said that our social system is being turned into becoming more fragmented but not less public. So Gorski argues that the secularization paradigm comprising a variant of theories revolve around the core theory of differentiation. So yun ang pinaka-importante kay Gorski, the theory of differentiation. On the other hand, Goldstein naman argue that there is a unilinear conception of the secularization process. So for him, he identified three different camps of all secularization paradigm: the functionalist, the phenomenologist, and the dialectic theories. So sa dialectic theories kasama si Goldstein. So he argues that the secularization theories in the old paradigm do not follow a linear process and may even follow other patterns that are spiral, dialectical, and paradoxical. So he also argues that religious movements in the direction of rationalization and social movements in the direction of secularization spawn religious counter movements in the direction of sacralization and de-differentiation. So yun naman ang idea ni Goldstein. So he also offers a dialectical understanding of the secularization paradigm. So according pa with Goldstein, so the secularization paradigm daw is a family of theories that vary in terms of extent of decline or displacement of religion, the direction of the process, and the driving forces they ascribe to the secularization process. So next on that, we do have the resurgence of religion in the context of globalization. So one of the prominent scholar who studied about resurgence of religion thesis is Samuel Huntington. So he argues that the fundamental source of conflicts that will dominate the global politics will be cultural and not primarily economic or ideological. So in his thesis, he described the politics of civilization, so wherein the peoples and government of non-Western civilizations are no longer remain the objects of history as targets of Western colonialism, but join the West as movers and shapers of history. Alongside with that, he also describes civilization as a cultural entities which are differentiated from each other by culture, tradition, language, and history. So sinabi niya din on his thesis that nagkakaroon tayo class ng tinatawag na universality of Western values such as liberalism, individualism, and secularism. Ano? So, but we tend to seek refuge on our religion, ano, in order to resist on these Western values. So another proponent of the resurgence of religion thesis is Azusi. So he reaffirms the clash of the civilization and argues the revival of our religion as a consequence of globalization. So the example given by Azusi is the creation of Ummah, or a community of believers who greatly contradict the westernization, rationalism, consumerism, and liberalism value which is associated with globalization. So according kay Asusi pa, so religions, related cultures, and identities take defensive measures in order to protect our own values and culture. So, masasabi natin that Susi, ang kanyang idea is that we used our religion as a protective barrier in order for us not to follow those Western and cultural values. Okay? So, next on that, we also have Edward Said, who problematized the conceptualization of civilization and identities of Huntington into a certain way. So next on that, we do have Amartya Sen, who shares the same criticism of inadequate recognition of Samuel Huntington. So kay Amartya Sen naman, he emphasizes diversity as an essential feature of most of the culture in the world, including Western civilization. So according to Sen's criticism against the Asian values, thesis, he said that Asian societies traditionally value discipline over political freedom and democracy. He emphasized the lack of real basis for the claim as well as the particular reference to East Asia, which is often generalized as Asian values in its entirely. So sabi niya, there is no homogeneous worship of order over freedom in any of the Southeast Asian people culture. Okay, so yan yung class. So next on that, meron pa tayong si Norris and Englehart who espouse that secularization thesis also predict that the role of religion would eventually be raised on international agenda. And those issues includes the gay rights, divorce, abortion, sexual liberation, and other similar issues that may challenge social tolerance. So, isa pa din class reason kung bakit ang mga issues such as divorce, abortion, and sexual liberalization ay hindi masyadong maipatupad sa Pilipinas. It's because of our religion. So somehow ang religion laging against on this new issues related on globalization. So however, Norris and Englehart emphasizes that they do not refer to it as the class of civilization. So they rather said that it is caused by the accommodation of divergent attitude towards moral issues found in traditional and modern societies. So, let us remember, class, that our culture is neither static nor monolithic. So, whether we refer to either Western, Islamic, or East Asian civilization, the complexity and the diversity among and within identities must not be dismissed. So again, to a perspective of religion in the context of globalization, so you have the secularization thesis that believes that religion would lose its significance with economic development and modernization, and the resurgence of religion thesis, which views the strengthening of religion as a backlash and resistance to the incompatibility of values of Western and liberal modernization to religious and cultural identities. And religion can be treated as its definition on its spiritual and material concept. Thank you very much.